Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters. Gotta let me know if you can hear me appropriately, because I did a little something different with the audio. So let me do the sound check. Viking Fertilizer. Okay, what did I say? What did I say in the sound check? Gotta make sure it's working. Guys, sorry, I was running around trying to grab all the stuff so that I can talk about. So let us drop in. Yes. Okay, let us know what you guys are starting. What have you started? What have you transplanted? What is growing in your garden? What are your plans for this year? What are you excited about growing? Let's see here. Guys, let me know. What did I say in the sound check? Is it working or not? Got to see here. All right, let's see who is here, my friends. Jerry, yes. Says, Nora, although there's Big Cat Rescue Center, 300 big cats not far. Sometimes they get out. A Big Cat Rescue Center in central Indiana? Wow. What's up, Big Wheel Dog? Scarecrow Valley, good to see you guys here. Okay, good, thank you. Got it. Big Wheel Dog says Viking Fertilizer. Yes, Viking Fertilizer. Good. That is what we said during the check, so it all sounds good. Mick Hegarty says, at work, but listening in. All right, that's what we like to hear. So, guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today because it is go time. And you know that I'm a huge proponent of waiting until the right time to plant all of your stuff. Now, in particular, your heat-loving stuff. So how many of us have jumped the gun and planted things too early and tried to get a jump on it thinking that we're gonna somehow gain something. And then people are rushing out there with cloths and blankets trying to cover their stuff. And then, oh no, because it's in gardener's mind. And you know, I preach on this all the time, but it's in gardener's mind for some reason that we have to start really early. We have to start real early, start all the seeds super early and get them out there the second that it's warm enough. But that's not the case. And so one of the biggest things that experience will teach you is to wait until it's time. It's like in many other things as well. When you gain experience, you understand, okay, what is important and what is not so important. What is the timing, the appropriate timing, and what is the incorrect timing. So all the young bucks want to jump the gun and everything, and then their plants kind of just sit in soggy, cold soil for weeks. And they're just kind of not doing anything. So then they'll be like, well, I don't know why it's not doing anything. So they'll dump fertilizer of some kind on it, or then they'll do something to try to correct something where the only cause is the incorrect timing. Temperature, remember? The 5 things that plants need. What are they? Light, water, air, nutrients, and it all has to happen at the right temperature. Now, if you guys have grown microgreens indoors, if you ferment and things like that, you will know what a dramatic difference temperature makes. Microgreens, definitely. I mean, they can take twice as long with just a 10-degree difference. That's 100% longer with just a 10-degree difference. And so temperature means the world. And especially with our heat-loving stuff. A lot of people are hitting me up. Hey, I want to start my Tahitian melon squash seeds in my greenhouse, indoors, so that I can get a jump on it. I'm like, man, here in northern Indiana, I don't even plant that kind of stuff until June 1st, most of the time. This year, probably a week earlier than that. But you wait until it gets nice and warm. You direct sow melons, squash, cucumbers, that kind of stuff. Once the soil's nice and warm, and they will just explode with growth. They'll grow right past those little ones that are all root bound that you've been starting up in your greenhouse and stuff. You just don't need to, unless you're in like zone 2, 3, maybe 4, where you've got a real short growing season. Then it's a little bit different. Pop Perm, $5. Thank you very much, my friend. First tip of the day says, introduce my neighbor to your channel. Shout out to Paul. What's up, Paul? Welcome to the channel, my friend. Let me know if you have any questions. If you don't see something that you would like to see, let me know. Because I am in a non-stop pursuit for content. And I'm finding that that is actually can be challenging. You know, as a professional content creator, the moment you put out a video, okay, that's great, but what's the next one going to be? And then the one after that, and then the one after that, and then you got to make several videos a week, and then you got to make, shorts and stuff like that. You got to do Instagram posts, all that kind of stuff. And then you also got to have like several massive gardens on top of that. And you also got to consult, and you also got to like try and start a fertilizer gig, and you got to do, so you just do what you can. That's what I'm finding. Okay, so let's see. Jeremy Ranson says, patience. You must learn patience. That's exactly right. Andrea Brown, I feel late with my stuff. Okay, if you are in anywhere like anywhere but like the hot zones, then you're not late. Don't even worry about that. Typically, we don't even plant tomatoes and peppers, the heat-loving stuff, until Mother's Day here, give or take, May 15th. This year, it's early. I actually planted listen, after that big, long discourse I just gave on not starting too early, I did plant tomatoes yesterday because it is... because I just want to see, and the weather is, man, you guys want to look for some weather. A lot of people ask me, okay, so do you plant by the moon? Do you plant by the, stars? Do you plant by the almanac? Do you plant by what? And I plant by the weather and by feel. I do everything by feel. And so when you transplant, to me, it doesn't matter where the moon is at. I'm not that regimented enough to plant by the moon. But I will look at the weather, and I will see, okay, so look here. Do you see what we have here? Kind of overcast, and lows dropping as low as 44. That's not a problem. Lows in the 50s and 60s, highs in the 70s, give or take. And overcast, couple days of rain. Now's the time to transplant. Now is the time to transplant, because they're going to have a solid 10 days without the blazing hot sun. Okay, so you want to look at the weather and say, okay, well, the next at least 5 days, 7 days is going to be pretty mild, overcast, maybe a little bit of rain, and then that's when you plant. So it doesn't matter to me what the almanac says or any of that kind of stuff. I always just go by feel, and you look at the weather forecast and you say, okay, now is good. Now, if we looked at the forecast and we saw that the next 5 days was 87 degrees and full sun, we wouldn't transplant unless we had to. And then we would probably use a shade cloth or something like that. But that's how I do it for the greatest success, definitely. Harvesting Faith Homestead says, according to M.I. Gardner, the Amish go by when the plum trees are in bloom. Apparently when they bloom, there is a 70% chance there won't be another frost. They don't plant everything, but most stuff. That's not a bad idea. And it's, the Amish, at least most of the Amish, don't just get on their smartphone and look at the weather forecast, although several do. But the... before we had weather forecasts and stuff, that would be a great kind of thing. Yeah, that would be a great kind of thing. But in Indiana, at least, it is so not temperate that it's just that's hard to have any definitive guideline like that. To say, oh, well, when those are in bloom, then is when you do it. If you're in a place like when I was in Humboldt County in Northern California, it is so temperate there that the weather changes by like 1 degree each day. The low, 1 degree lower every couple days, 1 degree higher, like that. I mean, super temperate. Here it can be a 40-degree difference in just a couple days, just huge, wild temperature swings and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's let's see. Teats Treat says, M.I. Gardner is one of my 4 trusted garden channels. Yeah, guys, M.I. Gardner is he's got good knowledge, definitely. And I don't say that about many channels at all, but he is an OG in the YouTube gardening community, definitely like the OG. Like he's been doing it like 15 years when this was just beginning. Even though he's young, he's like in his 20s, but still, he knows his stuff. He's got a lot of good knowledge, definitely. So no doubt about that. Alberto, $5. Thank you, my friend. Says, may this live stream give you their voice, joy, trust, and vision for your future ventures, my friend. Yes, thank you, Alberto. I appreciate this. I'm going to hit the like button and the heart button. Let me heart it. Oh, no, I guess you can't heart it. But thank you very much for the contribution. Yeah, the live stream is my favorite time of the week. It really is. It's wonderful. I get to check in with all you guys and hear about all the good stuff that's going on. So the Weebler says, what about planting peppers? Mine are getting big and need to up pot or plant out in Detroit, 6AB. Now, let's see here. Donald Hughes, $5 via the PayPal. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, did you plant your blueberry yet? I would have, but we didn't yet because there's so many things going on right now. And I was just down in Tennessee. I mean, that takes, if you're there for 3 days, there's a day driving each. So that's 5 days, So a lot of things going on. But no, we did not plant them yet, but they will get planted, definitely. That's out at the Viking North Garden. So where the Valhalla Onions are growing strong. Guys, we got a great batch of Valhalla Onions coming for you guys. No problem. This year is going to be delicious. So if you guys want them, there's still space, I would say, because the crop is so strong this year. So send that $40 payment along with your address. That you have to have your address and using either Venmo, CashApp, or PayPal. You can send a Raven through the P.O. box, but the best method is through the electronic means. It's just easier for my accounting needs, although we will always accept the Raven. Julianne Scott says, yay, it's Saturday Live with Nate. That's right, my friend. Did you get your package yet? I sent it out to you, but all of the 5 gallons were sold out, so you got the 33-pound bucket. I hope that's okay. But yeah, guys, so to all you guys that have gotten the Viking granular, I've sent out lots of buckets already. So guys, the dosage, and I mentioned this in the Discord chat and stuff, but for like my mom's 150-gallon grow bags, we used between 2 and 3 quarts per bag. Now remember, this is the only amendment that you need. And so you have to use enough of it. You don't just sprinkle a couple tablespoons here and there. So 2 quarts to the 150-gallon, something like that, is going to be sufficient. And so for like a 30-gallon pot, you can do like anywhere from a half cup to a cup, mix it in there well, and that will be everything that they need. If you're growing like peppers or something in there, you got 10-gallon pots, so that's a small pot. I don't even grow in pots that small. But like a 20-gallon pot would be as low as I would grow in, just because of root space. Unless you had some kind of drip irrigation on it, then you can use like a 1/4 cup to a half cup, something like that. If you're doing in rows, you can sprinkle out 1 quart per 10 row feet, give or take, something like that, if you want good, strong growth. So yeah, okay. Julianne says yes, or says no, I didn't get it yet. Well, that's okay because they were all just sent out, I think the day before yesterday. So some people get them fast. So yes, let's see here. VA Green, yes, my friend. Thanks for showing up to the in-person JDOM talk. That was wonderful. Had no clue what we were walking into down there in Tennessee. I just heard, Nancy kind of arranged it a little bit, and then we were at the Crabtree Farms, me and Jenny, and the whole Tennessee family. It was awesome. And a lot of you guys showed up from the channel, so that was cool. I really appreciate that. And we had a good chat, and I already know things that I will do differently next time. They have a projector with a power, I can make a PowerPoint thing, so that will be great. So I definitely see a lot more of that kind of stuff in the future, a lot more in-person kind of stuff, because the energy is fantastic. I really like it. So, and Scarecrow Valley says, Nate, where did you get the cup? I've had this for a long time. This might be from India. I forget. Sorry. Let's see. Val Thatcher says, Nate, will the Valhalla Onions come with instructions? How much space will I need? Now, that's a good idea. I will get the instructions, definitely. And sorry about not having instructions with the Viking granular, but here's the, those were the instructions I just gave you, because I just got them made and had to get them out. There comes a point when you just have to do it. And so you can think about it and it's like, oh, well, I need to have the logo first and I need to have stickers and I need to have all this stuff. I would just never do it. So I was just like, look, I'm just going to get the buckets, make the fertilizer, and you just got to start doing it. And you learn as you go along. So the Valhalla Onions will kind of be the same, except they'll be much simpler. So we will definitely include instructions with the Valhalla Onions, definitely. Because once you plant them, guys, if you know about exponential growth, once you plant them, they will just keep growing and multiplying and multiplying. You'll give them to people, no doubt, and they will grow them. And it all started from that one handful from the Buddhist monks at the temple several years ago. So it's pretty cool. Alex Coonan says, overthinking is my biggest enemy for sure. Yeah, guys, and I have been there in life, but it is one of the greatest skills, especially with this kind of stuff, growing, gardening, in life in general, but one of the greatest skills to be able to discern what is actually necessary and important and what is not. And to not waste your energies, to not let your energies evaporate in things that are, in the bigger picture, insignificant and that aren't achieving the goal any further, And so it's like, yeah, that's a perfect example. The fertilizer, oh, I have to get the labels, the exact labels, and everything has to be exactly right. You would just never do it. How many of you guys have ideas that you've been kicking around for years? Well, I'm going to do this. Or, oh, well, see, eventually here I'm going to do that and going to do this and going to do that. But yet you just never really seem to do anything. Nothing ever really gets accomplished. And it's because of that. Well, I got to wait till it's exactly right. I got to wait till everything's right. And some things are like that, like brain surgery is like that. But most other things, just done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. So, Big Will Dog says, all my overwintered strawberries sat outside and I have tons of berries developing. Nice. That is wonderful. Yes, we just planted 100 crown of strawberries at the Viking North Garden a couple of days ago. So looking forward to that. Michael Lanning says, in software, we call that minimum viable product. Start with the most basic that works, and then you can add features from there on. Yes, exactly. Start with the most basic that works, add things on top of that. Let's see here. Hogue says, good afternoon, y'all. I just finished my first batch of calcium acetate. Any reason to strain the eggshell, or should I just leave it until I need it for the garden? There's no need to strain it, but I like to, because if you use a sprayer, these fine little eggshell particulates can clog that sprayer for good. So it's very important to filter it finely. Ask me how I know this. It's important to filter it finely. So I like to make it, once it's done fermenting, I will pour it out and then strain it really good through like a coffee filter and keep it in its container. Yeah? Like Big West says, I strain it to avoid rotting as well, definitely. Meyer Lemon says, Nate, what will the fish fertilizer be good to give new transplants? What are your suggestions for preventing transplant shock? Yes. Okay. So the fish fertilizer is is the fertilizer, really. I mean, it's we use it. We're going to use it in the compost tea, which, if all things go right, that video will come out next week if the temperatures stay right. I think they will. But the fish fertilizer is pretty much, if in doubt, give it the fish fertilizer. Remember that. If in doubt, give it the fish fertilizer. If it's looking sick or kind of ill, give it the fish fertilizer. Definitely. With some labs if you want, if you can. You know, remember that, guys. Labs is like it fixes things. See, I just made this fresh batch of labs from a gallon of raw milk. And if you watched my recent labs video from last fall or whatever, then you will know that the only thing you have to do with raw milk, because it's alive and living and has all of the appropriate bacteria in it, is let it set out, basically, and it separates. Now, you can't really eat the cheese, though. It doesn't, because it hasn't been homogenized. So it's a different kind of, I don't eat the cheese from the raw milk. That's the one downside, because it gets kind of weird. But I'm sure some people do. But I just like it because I get several gallons of the raw milk from the Amish, and the ones that I cannot consume, sometimes I'll have too many gallons, and so I'll just let one sit out and let it separate. And then, yes. So we're going to use this. So for Transplant Shock, when you transplant, to answer your question, when you transplant a seedling or the transplant, put it in its final home, do 1 or even 2 ounces a gallon of the labs and 1 ounce a gallon of the fish fertilizer and overhead water. Shower it down on them and they will love it. And the labs and the fish fertilizer is the best way to help with the transplant shock. Now, once the aerated compost tea video comes out, though, it's going to really simplify things, because it's we will use that recipe, and you'll see it's the what was that term that you use? I really like that. I won't be able to find it now. Oh yeah, minimum viable product. So the it'll be the same principle. So there will be the foundational compost tea recipe, and then there will be the add-ons that you can add based upon your desires and your garden and things like that. So, yes. Cyber Cert says, I won't be able to make my own fish fertilizer this year. Is Alaskan 511 good enough? It's good enough, yes. It still pales in comparison to the homemade stuff, but it's good enough, yes. Of course. I mean, it's better than nothing, definitely. But the stuff that you make yourself, in particular the FAA, which I made the video on recently, the FAA, because I'm just over the smells. You know, I know I've been saying this all the time and stuff, but that's so, yeah. So the FAA just smells so wonderful. I mean, there's no foul smell from it. And so that's what I like. And so the we're going to use a 30-gallon barrel with a tight-fitting lid, and then I'm going to get, as soon as we can make it happen, I'm going to go with Rusty Reed the Turtle Man, and we're going to go spear some carp in the Eel River, and then we're going to, then I'm going to use those to make some FAA, a serious amount, like, you know, we'll see how much, but we'll get maybe 50 to 70 pounds, or maybe 30 pounds of fish. I have no idea how much, actually, however much we get. But these carp are big. These carp are real big. So we'll get a few of those, and then we'll put them in the barrel with the equal parts of the brown sugar, and we will just let that ferment. And that's what I like, the FAA. Donald Hughes, seedling fertilizer with rooting hormone, game changer. Oh yeah, absolutely. Gosh, man, I forgot about that. The rooting hormone for the transplant shock, if you've made that, absolutely add that, because that really helps to stimulate new growth. Because the kelp, well, and the willow as well, but they have root and cell stimulating growth hormones in them. Yeah. Gibberellins and cytokinins. I forget. So, let's see here. So, Ila A says should be Jadam sulfur used with Cooper. Not sure what that is asking. Andrea Brown says CyberCert. I like using the Neptune's Harvest fish fertilizer because it is hydrolyzed and not emulsified. Yes. So the Alaskan fish fertilizer is, and the reason it pales in comparison to what we make is because it is a byproduct of other industries. So the people that are making, fish oil, gel caps, and certain cosmetics and certain kind of thing, they use the oils from the fish. And so they will process the fish, consume, and use every part that they possibly can to sell. And then whatever is left, they will sort of grind it all up and heat it up so that it doesn't explode. It's a whole process. And you end up with a pretty low quality fish fertilizer. Very low quality, which is still good for them. But fish hydrolysate, typically, if it's a good one, especially if we make it ourselves, fish hydrolysate is enzymatically digested. So, and it's cold. So they don't heat it up and destroy a bunch of stuff. They will take the fish, and if it's a high quality one, they'll take the whole fish and grind it up and then digest it with a enzyme. Something like labs, except, it depends. Some labs is what we use, but something like labs. And although it's typically a chemical. And then they will digest that, and then that's what they will give. So it's hydrolysate is a far superior product to fish emulsion. So Michael Lanning says, the fish has really come up out of the liquid with my FAA, and the sugar is still piled on top of it. Should I stir it around to try to submerge the pieces of fish? At this point, there's no need for that. Nope, there's no need for that. You can just let it decompose. You can stir it around a bit if you want, yeah. But that's not necessary. It's all going to happen anyways, so... Big whale talk. Nate, the carp I'd have to get out of the White River wouldn't be safe even with underculture. Well, if you're using underculture, it's a game changer, my friend. You can use anything. It doesn't matter. You can grow in cement and it will work perfectly fine because underculture. So yeah, it doesn't matter if they're radioactive fish. Underculture will take care of it. Let's see. Where to get kelp. Okay, so guys, it is coming up on time to wait, what's the good question? Did I answer it? Let's see here. Oh, should I? Okay, yeah, because Val had the same question. So yeah, you can stir it around, and if you like, typically the actual KNF recipe for FAA says 10 days is all. Say after about 10 days they start straining it off and using it, but I have not found that to be accurate. Maybe if you're in the tropics, where and it's like in Thailand or Costa Rica, where it's like 86 degrees day and night and humid and stuff, things decompose a lot faster. So, but here in the frozen north, the fake north, it's going to take a lot longer. So I found it best if you need some after a month or so, you can strain some off. But I like to just let it digest. Really, you should make it, and don't worry if you've made it already for this year. Really, you should make it for next year. You should make it the season before. It's the best. But if you don't have any fish fertilizer, in a month or so after making it, 2 months, you can start straining it off. Yes. And just put everything back in. Yeah? Let's see. Oh, yes, Nancy. Nancy, thank you very much, my friend. Says $20 via CashApp. Thank you. Says for Kentucky Derby is today here in Louisville. All right. Kentucky Derby, still doing that, huh? Who you got the money on? Good luck, my friend. So, thank you for the contribution, Nancy. B. Hendricks says, can you use the seaweed from the local lakes instead of kelp? Yeah, it wouldn't really be seaweed. So I can't say for sure. I don't know. As far as I've not used that, so I can't say for sure. Yeah. But I don't think so. No, there's really not much replacement for the kelp, for the seaweed. You can use the dried stuff. If you get one bag of it, it's good that you would get a bag of it because we will use that in the aerated compost tea. That will be one of the optional add-ons, yes? And for obvious reasons, so that we're cultivating the root stimulating and cell division stimulating hormones and enzymes in the kelp. And I know the kelp's kind of pricey. I mean, when I was making the Viking granular fertilizer, it pained me to buy these 50 pound bags of kelp because they're super expensive. But the kelp is necessary. It's just necessary. There's no replacement for it that I found. Not even alfalfa meal will do the same thing. Not even close. So that's just the way it is. Okay, Norfolk Meadow says, hey Nate, could you please clarify which fertilizers need to be sealed and airlocked and which can be open? So there's actually none. Well, it's not like fermenting. So none of these fertilizers is like fermenting wine where you can't let oxygen in or where you can't, or certain things to where you can't let the air in. The reason that we seal stuff, you'll see that on the original, on the JDOM fish fertilizer and the fish hydrolysate, I have airlocks on there. Not for the functioning of the digestion, I have it there for the smell tolerance because those two create pressure in the lid and you want it to be tight. The fish fertilizers, you want it to be tight because you don't want things trying to get in it. You don't want that smell. So I put an airlock on there, and for some reason, that takes care of the smell. It relieves the pressure, and it takes care of the smell. For the most part, there's still a little bit of putrid smell, but it's not because the ferment will not work. You could just leave it with like a cloth over the top of it. Yes, you could. Now, there really isn't any fertilizer that has to be sealed for it to work. It's all about the evaporation. So your liquid fertilizers, the fish, if you watch my chicken manure fertilizer, I've got a tight lid on those things. On the JLFs, the liquid fertilizers, I got tight lids on those because otherwise it's all going to evaporate. And I know this because I used to do it in trash cans with a lid that just kind of clamps on. And then I would wonder why after several weeks, not only did the whole garden just reek of the putrid stench of death, and the whole block started to after a while, not only that, but I would go there and a huge amount of it was gone. And I thought there was like a leak in it or something, but it evaporates. It evaporates. So we don't want that to happen. So we don't want that to happen. So that's why we put a tight fitting lid on them. Yeah? So I hope that answers the question. Hope that answers the question. Harvesting Faith Homestead says, my husband says I'm not allowed to do the fish fertilizer. Well, if he's talking about anything but the FAA, he'd be that's reasonable. The FAA though does not smell. It will blow your mind. Decomposing fish in the basement right now, no smell whatsoever. It's incredible. So yeah, and guys, and I know I've been saying this, but just because for those of you that haven't heard it and stuff, but like when you see me transition to things like not so much JDOM and things, and I'll be using more dry amendments. I got the Viking granular nutrients now, which is my old school. I started with dry granular nutrients back in the day in Northern California. So that's like also my specialty. But when you see me transitioning to all that stuff, it's not, none of it is because, JDOM stuff doesn't work anymore. No, it works perfectly fine. No problem. Do you need the Viking granular nutrients? No, you don't. You don't need it. Absolutely not. Do you need the dry amendments? No, you don't. But there's trade-offs to everything. If you're tired of hauling around manures and just Guys, a couple of years ago, it might have been last year, I took like all day, went and got the manure from the place, because that's how I've been doing it. And then shoveled it, took all day to get the manure into the trailer. Then I parked it back here. And so that was a full day. And then it started raining at night. And I was like, oh no. And I forgot to tarp it. But there was a tarp at the bottom. So I go out there the next day and the whole trailer is saturated. So the whole trailer is just sopping wet horse manure. Okay. And I'm like, oh man. And so I'm all day, sopping and then taking it wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow into the garden beds, and it's all sopping wet. And that's when I realized, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of over this. And it took like 3 full days of time, and everything was covered in wet horse manure, and then there was a slight scare if there actually was some grazon in it. In fact, I think that there was. And so that's when I was like, okay, I know that these techniques all work, but based upon my current situation, I'm just going to go back to some dry nutrients, for a while, which is we're still utilizing the same principles of nature. That's what people don't always grasp. They'll say nature never adds bone meal. Nature never adds alfalfa meal. Yes, we understand this, but nature always decomposes organic material. We're still utilizing the same, mimicking nature. We're still putting organic material into the earth, utilizing the soil food web. We're not disconnecting the whole thing and utilizing chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides that are totally disconnect you from the whole cycle of life. We're not doing any of that. We're still mimicking nature. So, and that's to the people that comment on some of the videos. I've got some comments about that. Don't claim to mimic nature when you don't. Yes, we do. Okay, we still do. And we always will, because that's the way that it works. That's the way that it works. So it's not because the JDOM works any less good or any of that kind of stuff. Absolutely not, guys. It's all about context. This is why you need to learn as many different techniques as possible. That's why we show you so many different techniques, so you can utilize the one that is best for your area. Now, if you've just got a small home garden, and you just want to grow some really killer tomatoes and peppers, but you don't want to be hauling sopping wet manure all the time and all that, then get you a bucket of Viking granular fertilizer. If not, no problem. Or if you've got if you've got 400 row feet of crops to do, then dry granular is not going to be the way to go. You're going to want to use some manures. It's in more bulk. And you're going to want to make the liquid fertilizers, the JDOM stuff, because it's so cheap. It's so cheap. And then you won't care so much about the smell. You'll be like, well, it smells like putrid death, but it's free. And so that's the name of the game for some people in some circumstances. So that's why you got to learn all the different techniques so that you can then go, okay, so that works. I know how to use it now. I understand it. But we're going to use this other way because the aerated compost teas smell like fresh bread, like you want to drink it. All right. So, so that's the way to do it. All right. So Teats Treat says, if you don't have a couple of haters, you're not at the top. You were there, my friend. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I understand what you're saying with that, but we are not even close to we have a long way to go. We've only just begun, my friends. You will see. You will see. So stick with us. So the Monique says, what are you using for your sweet potatoes this year? Yeah, great question. You must remember last year when I got a little overzealous with the Viking granular fertilizer, which is just dry amendments, like 14 different kinds and stuff. So I got a little overzealous, as I tend to do, and added too much of the Viking granular. And to the sweet potatoes, grew the most beautiful foliage I'd ever seen on sweet potatoes. That was the first red flag, but I still had high hopes. But the vines, man, the vine itself was as thick as my pinky, like this, 25 feet long, snaking across the the fence, and leaves like the size of dinner plates on some of them. I was cutting the leaves and sauteing them all summer. Guys, the best way to do sweet potatoes is just like this. Listen, sweet potato leaves. Here's a pro tip. Sweet potato leaves are super delicious. Now get you like a wok or something to make it really hot, okay? Because it's got to be on high. It's got to be high heat to keep them from getting soggy and mushy. And so get your wok, put some oil in it. Now I like lard or tallow. You could also use a little bit of sesame, toasted sesame seed oil, cold pressed. Get that oil blazing hot, and then put like 1 or 2 chilies. If you got like the Thai dynamite chilies or a Tabasco chili, 1 chili and a little bit of garlic or garlic scapes. If you got some garlic scapes, chop that up, put it in there with the chili and let it fry right there until the chili and the garlic or the garlic scape is crisp. That's when it's infused the flavor into the oil. Then take a couple of handfuls of the sweet potato leaves, throw them in there like that, and saute them just for about 1 minute until they wilt. And then at the very end, a splash of soy sauce, some high quality soy sauce, or just some sea salt. And that's how you do sweet potato leaves. And you just have it. Oh, it's so delicious. So delicious. You could put a splash of vinegar in there if you wanted as well. So I don't know what got me started on that, but someone suggested that I do memberships for the channel, and that's where I'll do the cooking videos. So I'm really thinking about that. I think that I will start memberships for the channel, and that's where the perk of being a member is you'll get the cooking videos, and we'll have at least one every other week or so, maybe during the summertime. So that would be, and you can contribute easily to the channel and stuff like that. So we're toying around that idea, because I'm not going to do any more cooking videos on the channel. They just tank. Too bad. So, oh, yes. And then, okay, so I got them huge sweet potato leaves, and then I went to harvest them, and I pulled them up, and hundreds of pencil thin sweet potatoes. I mean, tons of them, some of them this long, super thin, classic sign of over fertilization. So it was absolutely, well, it wasn't devastating, but it would have been if we had to depend on it. If the things crashed and we had to depend on it, that would be devastating. So that confirmed what I already pretty much knew, is that sweet potatoes do not like fertilization like that. And you can tell it's over fertilization and not under fertilization because of the way that the foliage grew. Over fertilization, big, thick, delicious, amazing foliage, but the tuber production was horrendous. Now, but under fertilization, you would have short little vines, small little leaves, yellowing kind of, and also small tuber production. That's under fertilization. But sweet potatoes can just take a real mild soil. I've planted them in pure leaf mold before, pure leaf mold, and gotten big old honking sweet potatoes in there. So sweet potatoes don't need a lot of fertility. So I'm not going to be adding any of the Viking nutrients this time, probably not any. So yeah, that's what it is. So Cowgirl in Arizona says, Nate, can you please do a cookbook? Absolutely, my friend. That is all on the horizon. There will be gardening books, cookbooks, several, definitely, because that's my real passion, or one of my real passions is cooking, because this is all just part of cooking. This is all for cooking. Like when people say, oh, I cook from scratch, I'm like, well, how from scratch do you cook? Because I cook from the compost. I mean, the flavor starts in the compost. It really does. The flavor starts in what the plant is eating. That's how from scratch it has to be for like the real flavor. Yes. Eat like a Viking. I like it, guys. Just so wonderful. Eat like a Viking, or cook like a Viking. What do you think? Look to Nature says, I'm planting my sweet potatoes tomorrow or tonight. Okay, I forget where you at again. Because guys, remember, sweet potatoes are like watermelon and like winter squash. They love the heat. Sweet potatoes, more than any other crop, want it to be warm. So sweet potatoes, I won't even be planting until probably another 2 or 3 weeks. Typically, on a normal year, when we have an actual winter, it's not till June 1st, give or take, that I'll plant those slips, and they just grow so much better. Temperature makes such a big difference. Ooh, I like that. Stacy Nature Nuts says, eat like a Viking because it starts with the compost, not the kitchen. Yes, that's right. It starts with the compost, not the kitchen. That's right. Flavor starts in the soil. Flavor starts with dirt. Well, except we would never call it dirt. That's so amateur hour. So no, dirt is what's under your fingernails. Soil is a combination of sand, silt, and clay with microorganisms. So remember that, guys. When you're buying big bags of soil from the store, you're not getting any soil. There's only one bag of soil at the store, and that's the topsoil. Those real small bags that are super heavy, the topsoil for like $2, that's the only soil in the store. The rest of it is soilless growing medium. Crystal Jones says, I need to find sweet potato slips somewhere since I didn't prepare this year. Yes, okay, go to Urban Farmer, I think it's ufseeds.com. Urban Farmer is a seed company, not the podcast. Urban Farmer Seeds is a Indiana-based seed company. They're based in somewhere outside of Indianapolis. So any of my Midwest people, if you would like to support a local company, they got good genetics, they got good everything, and I'm not affiliated with them. They don't even know about me, except I do get certain seeds and certain potatoes from there, which I really like. So I think their website is ufseeds.com. If you have a chance, tell them that Garden Like a Viking sent you so they can start hearing Garden Like a Viking. You know, maybe that will do something. But let me show you. I got these from the, okay, yeah, it is. ufseeds.com. See? I got some banana fingerling potatoes. Look at this. These are going to be delicious. I got some Adirondack blue. Some blue potatoes. Yes? These are from UF Seeds, you know, Urban Farmer Seeds. And then the French fingerling, guys. Look at all these. This is going to produce a boatload of potatoes right here. The reason I like fingerling potatoes is because they are so buttery soft, and you eat them with the skin on. They got super thin skins. So you eat them with that skin on, and you're getting all the fiber and the nutrients. And they also, definitely these French fingerlings will store for quite a while. So I got high hopes. The Adirondack and the banana fingerlings are ones that I'm trying for the first time. The other ones, the French fingerlings, are I've used before, and they're delicious. So if you like adding them to stews or just cutting them up and boiling them, fingerling potatoes are great because of how dense and buttery they are, and they're designed not to be skinned. They're very thin skin. So get on the train. And these, I think they have dusted with sulfur. I can tell, which is great. I mean, that's fine. Perfectly fine. So, yeah. And I will recommend the UF Seeds. I mean, Baker Creek is also wonderful for a lot of things, but this isn't like a Baker Creek channel, you know? So they don't even know about me, and they have no affiliate program. I don't know if UF Seeds does either, but I can tell you that they are wonderful. It's that sulfur right there. So, yeah, and guys, remember, Wojtek, $20. Thank you very much, my friend. Feast like a Viking. Ooh, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I like the sound of it because it really is. I mean, it really is. Nutrient-rich food that's going to nourish the brain, the body, and the spirit. Where did you get your Mountainside Homestead? Where did you get your purple Viking potatoes? From ufseeds.com. Yes. Got it from them. And guys, now, oh, here's another one though. Austrian crescent. If you can even find them, they're tough to find. Austrian crescents. This is like a tiny little runt. These are the biggest fingerling potatoes. Super delicious, okay, for mashed potatoes. All these fingerlings are like gourmet type potatoes because they don't really grow them like on commercial scale. They do, but it's not like the main, russets and Yukon Golds and stuff. So if you really are into potatoes like I am, I mean, I love potatoes. So Austrian crescents. Now, I get a lot of questions about potatoes, okay? Because they are the number one food security crop. They are. They're the number one source of calories. And the potatoes, contrary to popular belief, potatoes are extraordinarily nourishing to the body. The human being can survive eating just potatoes for months and months on end. No other vegetable can do the same, has the same resume. But potatoes, you can survive on. They have everything that the body needs for a time. So very rich in nutrients and all the good stuff. So do not fear potatoes. There's a lot of fear about potatoes because of the way that they're prepared. Deep fried in seed oils. And that is a nightmare for the body. And so if you're talking about eating whole potatoes and just boiling them, roasting them, eating them with some raw butter, raw cream, oh yeah, sea salt, that's it, some raw sour cream, oh my goodness. Yeah, so I get a lot of question about the determinate versus indeterminate potatoes. Now, a lot of people think that potatoes, the reason that we mound potatoes is to get more potatoes, that they'll produce more and more up the vine. But I've just not found that to be true. I've just never found that to be true. And I think it is definitely like the onion myth. Most people, even on the internet, if you research it, you'll find 1,000 explanations that long day onions bulb during the long days of summer and short day onions bulb during the short days of winter. And that's as far as their knowledge goes, but that's not actually right. As you know, though, that the difference, the long day onions, is because they put out their vegetative growth as the days are getting longer. And then once the summer solstice comes and the days begin getting shorter, it signals to them to stop vegetative production and begin bulb formation. Now, I had to learn this from an onion grower, a real commercial onion grower, to get a straight answer. And so I think it's the same kind of thing, because the difference between determinate potatoes and indeterminate potatoes only refers to their above ground growth habits. So these German butterballs, for example, they grow, and this is a classic, the indeterminate potato. They will grow, and then their vine just keeps growing. It keeps growing. So by the end of the season, the German butterball vines above the ground will be like 3, 4, 5 feet long sometimes, depending if they're growing right. But under the soil, they're pretty much still just producing potatoes at about the level that you plant them. And I've mounded even the butterballs, and I've grown them in the bags before, rolled up the sides of the bags, and I've found no additional tuber production. So I'm going to say that's a myth. So, prove me wrong if you would like. So but the indeterminate or determinate only refers to its above ground growth habit. So like these Austrian crescents, or definitely like a Yukon Gold, they are determinate, and so therefore they grow like a bush. They'll grow and they'll have a stout, thicker, bushier habit, as opposed to the indeterminate butterballs that will grow long, lengthy vines. So I'm pretty sure that that's the only difference. I'm going to go ahead and say that is the only difference. So, Better Still 100 says, my friend raised 5 boys on potatoes. Stay-at-home mom, dad is school janitor. Salt of the earth. Nice. Yes, potatoes are delicious, guys. From the earth. If you have some good meat along with that, some fish sometimes, some eggs, and then you have your good potatoes, sweet potatoes, and then in its season, plenty of leafy greens during its season. Yeah, that's the way to go, guys. Fruit during the season, absolutely. Big Will Dog says, Nate, what about gurneys? They're in Indiana too. Are these gurneys in Indiana? I didn't even know that. But no, they're a little commercial for me. So I can't say that I know either way about them. But I remember their catalog and stuff and just not really liking it. But gurneys too, maybe. I can't say to it though, like I can Baker Creek and ufseeds.com, Urban Farmer Seeds. High quality stuff. That I can say for sure based upon my firsthand experience. Yeah, exactly. Harvesting Faith Homestead says, I found the same thing. The potatoes don't grow up the vine. They grow at root level. You mound them up to keep light away from the spuds. Exactly. And that's what I found too. Even trying to use the bag method, with the classic indeterminate potato. So I'm going to say that's a myth. They only just grow basically at the same level that you plant them. Grateful Ed says, I like chicken of the tree with my potatoes. Chicken of the tree. Yes. Is that like chicken of the cave? Bats? Chicken of the tree. Yeah, so Teats Treat says, I plant my potatoes in the bottom of the container and skip all that mounding stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I did too with those grow bags. I planted them deep enough that they sprout up and I just never mounded anything and got, fantastic yields. But this year we're going to do a couple different methods because I'm using foresight and going to make a Ruth Stout potato video for next season. So we'll have, because I don't like to make videos about like grow guides where I just do the thing and plant it right now and don't have a full season. If you watch my onion video, I really like that. That's how I like to do grow guides, where I have a full year, including the harvest and everything. David Mukasa says, does applying Born mean to coffee increase the yields? Bone meal? I've never grown coffee, so I don't know. Tammy Harder says, Nate, can you recommend what to use to keep rabbits from eating my new raspberry starts and any tips to help them grow? Raspberries are typically one of those things that I just let them grow. They just kind of grow wild. At least around here they do. They don't need much cultivation after you get them established. Now, if the rabbits are eating them, how many of you know what I'm going to say about that? This Benjamin works really well, and it's totally silent, and you just break the barrel, it's air, and it works really well. So that's what I would use if I had to. If I saw them out there, I would lift the window up and kind of sit back and prop up against the refrigerator. That's one way to do it. If you're not into doing that kind of thing, then okay, I get it. Put a fence around it. That's about all that I would be able to do, because unless you get some Maine Coon cats, something like that, then yeah, okay. VA Green says the foxes and coyotes keep them in check here. Yes. Then yes, that's what I, the rabbits, I have no mercy for them. Just because, if it's either them just multiplying and eating all your crops, or you take care of them, then I'm going to take care of them and eat them, of course. Scarecrow Valley says, yes, let them go with J-Dom method. Yeah, absolutely. I would treat, so for raspberries, I would treat them the same as most other crops, in the sense that I would make sure that it's well mulched. I would apply JMS or aerated compost tea several times, get the land right, make sure there's organic matter in there. And then I would plant and apply the heavy leaf mulch. And then that's about it. Maybe I would give them some aerated compost teas the first year or two, even every year. The aerated compost tea, just everything loves it. So, yeah, then that's what we would do. And so we wouldn't do anything really special. Now, there are raspberry techniques. You'll see a lot of guys will pound in a T-post and then tie up certain ones. Now, I forget the exact methodology of this technique, but I've seen it done several times to where they will pound in a T-post at the and plant the straw or the raspberry at the base, and then it's either the new growth or the old growth. I think it's maybe the new growth. They'll tie at the end of the season. They'll tie up about 4 or 5 of those to the T-post, and then cut the rest off. And then so it's highly manicured though. But apparently you get a higher yield that way. I've just never, I mean, why make more work for yourself if raspberries around here, they just grow. So they just grow prolific, and that's about it. So Gary, $25. Thank you very much, my friend, via PayPal. No question with it. Okay. Thank you very much for the contribution, my friend. Let me check on here to make sure you didn't have a question. Mark Smith says, get an owl decoy for the rabbit. Does that actually work? Does that really work to you guys? I mean, don't they just get accustomed to it? Okay, Tammy says, I live in a city, so fence is the way, I guess. But yeah, rabbits are relentless. Yes, fence would be the only way, really. Better Still 100 says, is that a pellet rifle? Yes, it is. It's a Benjamin break barrel with the scope sighted in really well, and 22 caliber. And so that is highly effective for rabbits at a distance of, 50 yards, give or take. Not much more than that, but definitely for garden control, and it's silent. I mean, it literally is, you fire that thing, that's it. That's it. So, but practice with it so you're a really good shot. Okay, Cyber Search says owl decoy does nothing. That's kind of that's my experience as well. The owl decoy, maybe for the first day or something, but Andre Puska says, hi Nate, how do you use FAA from the bucket? Do you stir it first? Now you can, but the thing is, the way to use the FAA is to get a colander and press it down. Once you think it's liquefied enough, press it down into it and let the colander kind of act like a well. You understand what I'm saying? And then use a shallow, like a cup or something, to scoop it out. That's a good way to do it. Instead of dumping the whole thing out and stuff like that. That's literally how I do it the first year, but now I know to make it the year before. So Blue Wolf says, I have a few air rifles. I love them. Oh, absolutely. They're the way to go for that kind of stuff. CyberCert, no, it does not just scare it away. It's done. It makes it unalive. So, of course, you either eat it or compost it. You return it in some way. You either eat it directly or you eat it indirectly via fertilizing the vegetables. So we're still consuming it. It's not just wasted and it's not savagery. It's just life. When if the rabbits are devouring the crops, which I've had that happen, especially in the mountains, that they would devour crops, and you just, okay, am I just not going to get a harvest, or am I going to take care of these little rodents? No, I'm going to take care of them. Michael Lanning says, this will be my 3rd year for raspberries, and I still haven't seen a fruit yet. Can you guys help Michael out? Why is that? Now, I don't have enough experience yet with raspberries to know for sure, but why is it, do they take that long to fruit? Because I have had some right here that have never fruited, and this will be like the 3rd year. Probably. So, yeah, chill hours. Oh, really? Raspberries need some chill hours. Okay. I'm in zone 6. I don't know about Michael. I'm in 5/6, but we'll see. So, guys, a couple things. It's coming up time to plant. Oh, and I got your email. Let's see, Paul. Yes, I got your email. I did send them to the wrong person. Guys, I get so many correspondence. So someone is going to get some Tahitian melon squash seeds that didn't anticipate them. But I will send this out to you in Idaho. So yeah, I got it confused. I will send them out to you in Idaho pretty soon, okay? Now you said something about starting them in your greenhouse. I highly recommend you don't do that though. You will get bigger, healthier plants if you direct sow them, but whatever. I mean, you're professional, so you know what you're doing. That's just my suggestion. Sad for Good says, hey dude, you're a legend. Love your channel. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Okay, so Root Tracker says, yes, Viking, you are good, but Michael. Michael, what zone are you in? Okay, Colorado, zone 5/6. So it definitely gets cold there. Mom Computer says, berries fruit off of the second year canes. Huh. Second year and beyond? Or just second year? Huh. Is that right? Big Will Dog says, here in Indiana, rabbits in a garden can be classified as vermin and are legal to take down. Nice. Nice. Well, that's always good to have the law on your side, but even if they weren't, you know, it's either the crops or the vermin. And it's not going to be the crops, I can tell you that. So, let's see. Mary Robertson, $10. Thank you, my friend. Says, what is best for early blight on potatoes? And also, do the walking onions do well in zone 9A? Whew, that'll be pushing it, but I believe that they will. I believe that they will. The walking onions are a marvel of, they're just incredible. So you have them. I think 9 will work. Absolutely. Plant them in a cool area, in the sort of moist area. Okay, Mom Computer says, just second year canes produce fruit. There will always be second year canes unless you're cutting them down. Is that right? So they only produce on the second year of the cane, and then they have to, and then what happens? That cane just dies, or what? Okay, Harvesting Faith says, ever-bearing raspberries grow on new canes. June-bearing grow on second-year canes. Yeah, see, so there's so much to it. There's so much to it. We know this. Now, what did I want to say? Oh, I wanted to say, guys, that if you guys are like me and you love pumpkin seeds, I'd like to, oh man, I'll put this will be part of the Feast Like a Viking videos. The way I like to do pumpkin seeds, guys, you will thank me for this. I'll give you a tip real quick. And you should be eating pumpkin seeds because they are loaded with good minerals. One of the highest foods besides like oysters, in zinc, which is very important for men in particular, but all people need zinc, but in particular men, trust me. So pumpkin seeds, I eat a lot of them. And the way I like to eat them is take the raw pumpkin seeds and cast iron skillet and put the raw pumpkin seeds in there on a medium-high heat until they just start to crack. Okay, about a minute, 2 minutes. They'll start to crack. Drop in a huge chunk of some butter and get it coated all real nice in there. Another minute or two, just until you start to see some browning. And then it all has to be done real quick at this point. Then we will put like a whole teaspoon almost of cinnamon, and then a teaspoon of cardamom, and then immediately maple syrup, and you'll see it like that. So flip it all around in the pan. There's a technique to it, which I'll show you in the video. Flip it all around in the pan, give it another minute or so. You got to look for a couple of things until that maple syrup starts to caramelize a little bit more, and then immediately remove it and put it onto a plate and press it out flat. Let it cool down, and guys, that is gonna smell like, you know, the mall around Christmas time when you go there and they're like roasting, they got those candied almonds and stuff. It smells just like that, except even better. They are so good. You eat them, whoa. And that's how I like to eat them. It's like they're brittle, and they all stick together because you have to make sure that the timing is right on that after you add the maple syrup. But you have to reduce the heat just a little bit so you don't burn the maple syrup. So you don't add that much. It's just like a couple tablespoons of the maple syrup. So that's how I will eat them super good. So all that being said, I'm sure many of you know that the pumpkin seeds you get from like the co-op, the store, are not the same like the pumpkins from your backyard, or they're not the same like eating Tahitian melon squash seeds. So what you have to do is you have to grow a specific kind. So this pepitas, it's a hybrid, okay, which is very different than GMO. It's not GMO. Hybrids are not the enemy necessarily. We just can't save seeds from them. But so this pepitas is the type of squash you want to grow. It's a pumpkin, but the seeds are hull-less. So they are those green seeds that can be totally edible. This is important. Urban Farmer has the seeds. See, they got no nonsense. They're in Westfield, Indiana. Here's their information. If you guys need their information, there it is. And this pepitas pumpkin is the one that you want to grow if you want to grow your own pumpkin seeds. So we're going to be growing these out at the Viking North Garden this year. And we're going to have a boatload of them because I love pumpkin seeds. They are so good for you, especially when you make them in the way that I just told you. You will thank me later, okay? Ooh, nice. PayPal. Maran Neod sent you $20.59. Thank you very much, Maran. Says, no questions. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that contribution, my friend. I love it when you guys contribute anything, whether it's financially, whether it's energetically, whether it's with advice, whether it's with motivation, whether it's by spreading the channel, sharing the videos, talking to people about it, all that kind of stuff. It's all contribution. It all helps the cause. And so as we grow and the operation grows, you can be a part of more and more things. Then when we get the land, you can come to the land, and it's just going to be wonderful, guys. So yeah, and then when we get the land and we have the animals on site, then we will go back to using a lot more manures, because only then will I know for absolute certain that the cow has had only the hay that we have grown, or that the chickens have eaten only a certain thing. Only then can I know for sure, and it will be on site. So we'll have all that kind of stuff, and we'll do trials as well, because it'll be the whole thing will be for learning for people. And so we will have manure only garden, or dry nutrient only. We'll do them side by side, and we'll just see how they yield, and how the flavor is different will be the biggest thing, one of the biggest things. We'll see the pest resistance. We'll be able to experiment with all that. I've already got it all mapped out in my mind. It's all happening. It's just wonderful. So I'm glad you guys are here. So let's see. Mary Robertson says, can't wait to try them. I put chicken guts in a hole under where I planted them. Ooh, planted what? The raspberries? That's probably going to be really good. Let's see here. Wayne Caroli says, all kidding aside, I will never find this video again in the fall when I have so many pumpkin seeds. Yes, I know. Well, I will make a video then. It'll be for the membership thing, probably, And you guys know, if you've been following along for a while, that I'm not about like having a Patreon and all that stuff. I don't want to do that kind of thing. But at the same time, how things kind of change, now I'm finding that YouTube AdSense, is not going to be financing the land and the school. It's just never going to be enough. So you have to like shift a little bit and come up with things. Okay, well, how's this going to be financed? That's sort of the question now. So that's why we're doing other things. We're branching off into other things as well. Yeah, the books are definitely coming out this winter, no doubt. My full attention on the book. The Viking granular is in its infant stage, but it's happening. And there will be a video course as well. I want to make some courses as far as a master grower course where I can make videos where I don't have to cater to the algorithm. And as far as like making short little things like that with a bunch of cuts in it, and I can just speak like in depth about the knowledge. I can transfer the knowledge much more completely. When somebody is paying for a course, they really want to be there and they want to see it. So I can give it a lot more energy. And you don't have to cater to the algorithm. So yeah, it's because that's sort of been getting to me lately a little bit. I see so many channels doing pretty well and stuff, but then I see so many of their titles and things are just so like fear-based and shocking and it just just things I'm not really gonna do. So anyways, Mountainside Homestead says, Mark from Self-Sufficient Me did a video similar to a trial garden where he used store-bought fertilizer in one bed and stuff he just had in another bed. Results were the same. Yeah, probably, they can, I didn't see that video, but I do know for sure that Mark from Self-Sufficient Me is in a region that can grow things at an astonishing rate. He's in a region somewhere in Australia that can just, tropics, where it's just bursting with life. There's never a frost there, not even close. And so it's very different. It's very, very different growing in places like that. And I know this because I lived in Thailand for several seasons, and I've lived in Greece. I've been around Vietnam, Cambodia, and California, all that kind of stuff. And I know the difference between growing regions is tremendous as far as the techniques used. The foundation's the same. The fundamentals are always the same. The plant is an expression of the soil. You feed the soil, not the plant. All of these kind of things, but it's just different. Growing in Thailand is very different than growing in northern Indiana. Growing in subtropical Australia is very different than growing in Canada. So that's the thing. Queen RB says, please stick to being authentic, Nate. We respect your integrity. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you for saying that. Although there is no other way. At this point in my life, there's no other way that I would act. I would only do exactly what my heart tells me is right in every situation without fail. That's the only... one of the main rules that I have with myself. But look at this. Okay, so I had to take a picture just to let you guys know what I'm talking about and why it's kind of weighed on me a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, I took a screenshot of this, okay? Now, this is a video that I saw yesterday. And it's from a guy, Homestead How. So I don't know him. I've never heard of his channel, but he's succeeding. The video has 108,000 views in just 13 days. And a lot of his videos, tons of views. So I don't know anything about him, but here's an example of what's frustrating me slightly in the YouTube game and in the social media game. So his video title is, We've been lied to and we should be furious. We've been lied to and we should be furious. And then his opening line is, we have been lied to, we have been deceived, and we have been robbed. Okay, so he opens the video like that. And I'm thinking, is that really necessary? Absolutely not. But people are, we've been lied, we should be furious. Okay, click. And then they'll watch it. We've been robbed and we've been deceived and, okay. Man, it's not like that. It's just not like that. I don't see the world like that. And I refuse to perpetuate stuff like that. I refuse to make, look what they're trying to do to us and all of this kind of stuff. No, that's not how the energy flows here. So I don't foresee that happening. But that's the difference. His videos are getting hundreds of thousands of views. Mine are not. And so if you want to play the social media game, that's what they cater to. They cater to that kind of stuff. Okay, can you create division? Can you create fear? Can you create some kind of sense of panic? okay, then we'll put you in front of people. But if you refuse to do that, like me, then, well, okay, you're just going to kind of be on the back shelf. People have to really search to find you, you know. So anyways, yeah, exactly. Big West says, ad executives know negative titles get responses. Don't bite a hook. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about irritating the people. That gets more engagement. Whatever gets more engagement. That's the reality of this medium. Whatever gets more engagement. Yeah? Ooh, I like that. Okay, maybe I will start doing. Look to Nature says, Nate, label your next video live nudes and compost tea. There we go. And I'll have a real seductive picture of me like this with no shirt. And then I'll say, you won't believe the size of this compost aerator. Something like that. Yeah. So Busy Girl says, is that guy gardening? Yeah. Well, homestead how to homestead, I guess, you know? Yeah. Scarecrow Valley says, don't play into it. That's all. Be yourself. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely what we're doing here. There's no doubt about that. But, well, yeah, so that's why we're branching off into other things, you know, as well. So anyways, Teats Treats says, $2. Thank you very much, my friend, for the contribution. Says, thanks for the entertaining knowledge. Love it. Yes, me too. Thank you. Let me like that. Yes. So the, oh, thank you. Another $10 says, Nate, you didn't answer the question about us, what I believe is early. Oh, bus. Sorry about that. Okay, early blight, black spots, planted in late February. By the way, it was Seminole pumpkins that I planted with the chicken guts. Okay, thank you. Seminole pumpkins, that sounds like a southern thing. Where are you located? But how are those? What are those for, Seminole pumpkins? So, early blight. Now, I'm going to say aerated compost teas. If you've already got the blight, it's going to be a little bit difficult, though. Because remember, blight exists already pretty much all over the place in all the soil. But it's kept in balance by the microorganisms. So only once certain things get out of whack can it overtake. So we need to restore the balance. So one way we can do that is by making the aerated compost teas. And so that is very important. And also, you know, you can try, I can't say for sure, but you can try some of the JDOM sulfur. Definitely. That's a very strong one. Give the sulfur a try, but be real ginger with it at first. So, yeah. Really, the aerated compost tea should take care of everything. If you have to, do a foliar spray with the JWA, the wetting agent, and the sulfur. Do those two. That should pretty much take care of anything that can be taken care of with natural pesticides. That would be it. Right there. Yeah, Big Wheel Dog, you get it. You won't believe the size of this eggplant. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing. It's like, oh, okay. And then you look at some of the videos, guys, if you just go through, and I'm a professional social media person now, so this is relevant to me. You know, I have to look at this stuff. And if you look at the videos that are just killing it on the views, a lot of them are just kind of dumb little, you know, dancing, you know, they're just entertaining videos, you know, guys mocking, lip syncing something. And I'm just like, okay, this is entertaining, but yeah, it's just for a different kind of people. I just see this as being a tool that we can use to learn and to spread knowledge. But that's not what the algorithm sees. Okay, JB says, Nate, I got bulk expert garden soil last year for raised beds, and the soil just has no structure and is very loose, dry, and sandy. Is it salvageable? Very good and common question right there. That's a common experience, okay? So if you have, so these people are making this soil for a profit, of course. And so they're going to cut corners any way that they can. They're going to make it as fast as they can. Even places that are expert garden place, it's still going to be subpar to what you can grow yourself. And so the way to do this here is, well, you have to understand the reason. The reason that it has no structure is because there's no glomalin. There's no microorganisms that are going to produce the glomalin, which is what pulls, it's like a glue that binds the soil together, and it binds it into those aggregates. What you're seeing is no aggregates. And so, real poor soil, like all this farmland soil that's just been ravaged for the last 50 years, there's no structure to it. You pick it up, it just crumbles. It just crumbles like dry clay or dust, because there's no microorganisms in it. And so it hasn't had time for that glomalin to go in and to bind those particles together so that it looks like that. It has the texture of ground beef. That's like the size of particles that you want to see. When you look at it, that's because it's bound with that glue, and the binding of the glue creates air pockets in the soil. And so places where roots can grow, it's super good for it. So what you need to do is get the microorganisms established in that soil. And so to do that, you have to get the organic matter, you have to get the food for the microorganisms, and you have to get the microorganisms themselves. So you have to incorporate some more organic matter into that soil, and then you need to introduce the microorganisms. So you could do some finely crushed biochar that's been activated. You could do some manures. You could do some of the dry nutrients. You could do a green manure cover crop. Guys, in my opinion, green manure cover crops is one of the best ways to do things. I mean, it really works good, okay? There's a lot of no, you can't disturb the soil and till and all that stuff. But in certain situations, guys, a little bit of tillage, especially in the green manure, when you're establishing the life in the soil, can be very beneficial, especially if you have clay soils like here. But then add the JMS and the aerated compost teas, or just the aerated compost teas that are coming up. You will see. So apply that to the soil, and that's going to get those aggregates forming in there. All right. Raymond Alvarado, $2. Thank you very much, my friend, for the contribution. Appreciate that. Andrea Brown, I skip past the YouTube intros. I feel they are wasting time. They're a total waste of time. I mean, thanks for joining us today. Ding, 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 ding. Big 15 seconds of just like intro. Okay. I don't need to see that. And then as soon as the video starts, hey guys, so our video today is about XYZ topic. But before we start, I would like for you to, if you're new to our channel, take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and then make sure you hit that bell notification, blah, blah, blah. You guys know what to do. So I just don't like that kind of thing. But maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe that's what it takes to grow. But I still just can't do it. Yeah, no, I think my intro is it's just, okay, my friends, here it is. That's it. That's good. You get it, It means, okay, here's a Viking video. So I hope that answered the question about the late blights, and then about the soil with no structure. You'll probably want to get a good way to get life in the soil is a cover crop. So if you could alternate green manure, like if you really wanted to get it better, you would green manure, or you would incorporate some organic matter with the liquid, and then introduce the microorganisms with the liquids, and then do a cover crop that you could turn into a green manure, and then over the winter do another cover crop that you would leave in, something like that. Michael Lanning says, there is so much anticipation for this aerated compost tea video. I'm sure the first time when I hear, okay, my friends, here it is, I'm going to get chills down my spine. Yes, that's what we like to hear. Yep, that's what we like to hear. Yeah, I know. Big West says Dr. Elaine videos are about 15 minutes before you get anything from them. I know. I know, and I just can't. I make the kind of videos I like to watch, and that's just the how-to videos are short to the point. Here's what you need to know to succeed. These type of videos are the live streams, they're the kind that I'll put on while I'm working or while I'm driving, which I don't care if they meander into different concepts and topics and all that. It's a different kind of video for a different need in my life, you know? Guys, let me say one thing. It's about time to be identifying the pests that we have in our garden. So I really like this magnifying glass. They're super cheap. They're probably in my Amazon storefront. Remember, anything that you buy on Amazon, if you do any shopping on Amazon, go to Amazon through that link I put in the description to get into Amazon. It doesn't matter if you buy something in the Amazon store or not. I will get the credit for it. This channel will get the credit. So if you're already buying on Amazon, use the link to get into Amazon. Anything you buy in that browser window during that session, we will get the credit, which is better than Amazon keeping it all. But this is a really good magnifying glass. This is a really good magnifying glass, okay? Because it's made of glass and it's just a good one. I like this one a lot. So that way we can tell what kind of pests there are. We can see the eggs and we can know for sure. So many people think that they've got deficiencies when they actually have aphids or leaf miners or mites or many different things. Yeah? Thank you, Lynette. Says, Nate, I love your videos for the no-nonsense introduction. Thank you. Oh yeah, Queen RB says human beings are very programmable and easily influenced, and those YouTubes probably buy subscribers. Possible. It's possible. But yeah, definitely human beings, very programmable, easily influenced. JB, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. And it says, thank you very much, my friend. All right. Thank you. Justin Millward says, any thoughts on blending up aloe vera used as a foliar spray as well as using freshly sprouted seeds, blending for their enzymes? Now, I don't have experience with the seed stuff, with the sprout tea. I don't have experience with it yet. Maybe when we get the land and we have more places to experiment, definitely we can use this. But for now, aloe I have used in the past to really help with fungal problems in the growing medium. So that I have used it for. I don't know about grinding it up and spraying it on the leaves, but definitely watering with it helps to deter fungus and everything else. Mr. Miles goes, I am not easily programmable. Now, excuse me, I need to order a magnifying glass on Amazon. Yeah. Well, if it's not already, I'll put this one in here in the storefront because this I like this one a lot. So guys, if you want any of the Viking granular, we immediately sold out of the 5 gallons, but this is still 33 gallons. They're 125, but shipped, they are 170 because shipping is astronomical, but it's still, I did the math and it's still like either the same price or cheaper than Miracle Grow Organics and much better for sure. So, like I said, if you guys got like a 4x8 bed, 2 quarts, will work for that. And then one more quart several weeks or a month or 2 into the growing season is how you can use that. Okay. Or 1 quart for like maybe 10 to 15 row feet, something like that. Let's see here. Pop Herm, $5. Thank you again, my friend. Says, I have a pile of carbony peat moss. Will dumping nitrogen food scraps oxidize the carbon away and hurt it? Carbony peat moss. Will dumping nitrogen food scraps oxidize the carbon away and hurt it? I'm not exactly sure about the structure of the question, but I do know for sure that the peat moss does not want to break down. It doesn't compost very well. I mean, obviously, it's been here for thousands of years. So the peat moss doesn't really break down like that well, you know. So I would compost stuff separately. And then incorporate, if you've got heavy clay soil with poor drainage, you can incorporate some of that peat moss with the broad fork. That's what I've been doing this year, because we're several years into those potato grow bags and they're done now. So I'm dumping them out and then broad forking it into the clay. And that is definitely helping to aerate things. Julianne says, Nate, have you tried First Saturday Lime yet? I think y'all will love it. What is that? First Saturday Lime. Never heard of that. Guys, something that I just got down in Tennessee from the Tennessee family. Lime basil. I got 2 plants and I'm going to be propagating those. Lime basil. It's unbelievable. We're going to be using that for tea. Oh, Grateful Ed says, do you ever try electroculture? I'm trying it for the first time this year. I have a few copper antennas. Okay, I would recommend not last week, but the week before that, to go ahead and watch that video. We clarify electroculture. Okay, so not last week, but the week before. Okay, or it might be even the week before then. It might even be the week before that. Sorry. Meyer Lemon says, Nate, when are you going to be able to send out the larger Viking nutrients? Well, you can get these 33 pounds. We still have a few left, but that's it. Now I'm contemplating making another batch. We sold out of this one so fast that I was only going to make this one, but because it's a messy business, you know, but still, you can apply this stuff any time of the year. I mean, really. So I might just make another thing. We're only going to do 5-gallon buckets from here on. So, yeah. So, guys. Okay, guys. Whoa, man. 96 minutes. Look at that. We've been having a good time here. Okay. Mr. Miles says, is lime basil the same as lemon basil? I have lemon basil and it's good stuff. I've never heard of either of those actually. But the lime basil smells like you just cut into a fresh lime. It's incredible. And someone gave me what they called ginger mint last year. Who was that? Was it TC, I think I forget exactly. Someone gave me, and they also gave me that Vietnamese cilantro, which was wonderful, but is dead, of course. And it didn't go to seed. So if you want to send more, that would be great. If you guys want to send me any cuttings and stuff, you can do that to the P.O. Box. So Look to Nature, was that you? Okay. Thank you. And so I have the ginger mint is hopped out of the pot and is now growing in the garden. And it's like off to the races, of course, like mint does. So although it hasn't really started the essential oil production yet, so I'm not really smelling like distinct. Last year, I remember I smelled distinct ginger in there. But this time, not so much. So I assume that the essential oils will begin producing later. But yeah, so thank you guys. So that, for sure, I will now forever have ginger mint. So if you guys have any other kind of mint or basil or, many things, you can send them to me. I will grow them, definitely. And we have all those different garlics from you guys last year. Thank you so much. And there's very clear winners as far as we gave them all the same conditions. And we have very clear winners as far as which varieties of garlic do best in this location. I should make a video on that because it's so clear, the different varieties of garlic. The good variety, the ones that are going to do good here, super thick stalks on them, real big and healthy. The other ones, like the Spanish varieties, just kind of soft. Okay. Andrea Brown says, Nate, it's called Miss Burns Lime Basil. I have many basil variety seeds. I will send you my collection. That would be awesome. I would super appreciate that. P. Morton, bringing back Nate's electroculture PTSD. Yeah, no, I'm good. I've worked through all that. Strawberry mint. Maggie Smith, I have strawberry mint from local nursery. Smells just like strawberries. Guys, send the mint. Okay? Busy Girl says, "Show the garlic." Yeah, definitely. I'll record the video so that I can make an end of the season, like, because we got to see what the bulbs look like, and then we also want to see how long they store. Oh yes, okay. So the electroculture. So to Grateful Ed, it's the one on 420. That's right. It's the one on 420. A lot of you guys asked about what's 420. You know what it is? Remember? It was in like 1992, I think it was, in California. It was Senate Bill number 420, Proposition 215, that legalized medicinal cannabis. That is what, that's where those numbers come from. Senate Bill 420. So, and everyone is, oh, 420. Claire says, "Hey Nate, about pumpkins. I am growing the Lady Godiva pumpkin from Jonathan Shepper's Kitchen Seeds. It's supposed to be a holeless seed and heirloom. Great show and chat. Thanks." Hey, if it's holeless and heirloom, now we're talking. And I gotta say, there probably is heirloom ones about that, but I just know that this Pepitas F1 is like the commercial variety. But yes, I would like to get that one. So thank you for that. I'm going to take a screenshot of that so that I don't miss it. Let's see here. And so that's pretty much it, my friends. This has been real. I love hanging out with you guys. Make sure that you click the thumbs up. And okay, lemon and lime basil are different things. Okay. So Look to Nature says, "Do you have Yerba Buena mint?" No, I don't. Guys, just assume that I don't have whatever mint it is. All right, just assume that I don't. And even if you do send it, I will find a home for it. Definitely. I love mint. And I use it in all kinds of things, teas and all kinds of good stuff. So we got a lot of different peppers from you guys as well. Some guys sent some pepper seeds that are for paprika. Now, make sure as you're planning out your garden that you guys are growing some paprikas. Oh yeah, and you're going to use my video and you're going to smoke them. I like the taste and flavor of oak. Oak wood gives the best smoke. The hickory is too intense. The hickory just tastes like smoke. It tastes like smoke. The oak wood, when you're smoking paprika at least, it just smells like a campfire. It tastes like that deliciousness of the campfire. Oh yeah, without any of the bitterness. So, okay guys, thank you very much. And remember, do all your shopping on Amazon through the link in the description. Share the video with people. Monday, we skipped last Monday, but this Monday we will be doing we'll be back onto the Thrive Like a Viking channel at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, where we'll do a talk about a number of different topics. So we will see you there. And I think that's it. Always a pleasure, my friends. We will see you next time.